Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Thank you so much for spending Valentine's Day with us. Instead of taking your sweetheart out to lunch, you thought, hey, I'll go to a chamber event. What a great idea. So, yeah. I really appreciate it, though, because we have a really awesome panel up here. I think back last summer when the steering committee was thinking about what we could do for programming, we were doing it on the second Tuesday of the month, and we thought, well, February 14th is on the second Tuesday of the month, so we should do something about that goes along with Valentine's Day. So it was like, well, why don't we do one about how ways to love your client, to show appreciation to your client? So that's what we're going to do. I gave everybody, I think everybody has 2 sheets of paper. If you have any questions come up that you think of, write them down, because what we're going to do first is go through some questions that were submitted beforehand, and the panelists each have a take on those questions. And then if we have time, which I think we will, but at the end of that, then you can ask questions. And if there doesn't end up being time, then I have their email addresses on the sheets, and that way you can email them. You can email one of them or all 4 of them and ask them what your question is if you don't get it answered. And so I will be the moderator, and I will go ahead and get us started here. And let's see, the first question that we had submitted to us, and Tracy will lead with this one. I'm sorry, this is Tracy Kiefer of O'Brien Insurance Agency, Lana Reed of Quincy Art Center, and Ryan and Kimber Stark of Stark Studios. And they each bring a really unique perspective to these questions, so it's really cool to hear from them. In relation to your specific industry, how do you show your clients love? And the first one, we'll start out with Tracy.
For me, it's just always been treating my customers the way I want to be treated. It's been something that I've just really worked really hard at doing. If they want to give me their time, I want to listen and take care of it the best that I can.
The Quincy Art Center is a nonprofit, and so we do have customers who take classes, but then we also have donors. And so a lot of what I say today, I'm going to be gearing it towards that donor perspective. And I know that you're all here with businesses, but I know that you're involved in community organizations. So that's where I'm kind of coming from today. And so when I say my clients, I'm actually meaning people who support the Art Center who are donors. And so I work at a visual arts center, and so lots of what we do deal with visual arts. And so I brought actually some like small little tokens, and these are things that kids made or left over from workshops or classes. And these are things that are inexpensive, but they speak to our mission, and they speak to, that donor's perspective, what they are wanting to support. So I can pass these around if you guys would like to.
Cool. Our industry, we deal with a vast array of clients. Sometimes when you shoot something for a client and they're happy with it then, and then maybe a day or 2 later you get a call, hey, could we redo that, or could we reshoot that? Didn't really fit like it should have. Just this last weekend, we shot something on Thursday, went out of town on Friday, supposed to be back Sunday evening, got a call Saturday morning, hey, could you reshoot this like Saturday night? I'm sorry, we're out of town. What about Sunday afternoon? Well, we're still out of town. So we rearranged our schedule, drove back, a day early, and took care of that client. So sometimes rearranging your schedule to take care of that client, to make them feel important, especially if they're a new client, is really important.
It wasn't anything we did wrong with the thing. It was they didn't feel like it was the best that they did. So anyway, something that I think that we do is, obviously everyone has something different, but we do like thank you cards. I know that's simple and sometimes seems like it's not that big of an impact, but I enjoy getting non-bills in mail, and so I mean that's a pretty common thing. We also kind of like Lana brought examples. I forgot mine, but I'm sure you can visualize what I say. Candy and popcorn. Everybody knows what that is, right? We put that inside of our package when we send out our final product to the client, and that's just with wedding clients. We do something different with business clients, but something else that we do is making sure that we're always early to our meeting with them so that they're not waiting on us and wondering where in the world we're at. And we also add them on Facebook so that we can just have that extra connection with them, because a lot of times we'll meet a client once, or maybe like not even ever meet them until their wedding day. But just adding them on Facebook and kind of liking their stuff, or trying to learn about them, really helps them feel connected and loved to you.
Customer appreciation is key before, during, and after the sale. How do you show appreciation during these 3 stages? We will begin with Tracy.
For me, in the beginning, it's listening. I said that a little bit earlier. I think that if your customer is going to give you the time, you literally need to listen to what they have, ask a lot of questions, and to make sure I get to know them, because I think that that's very important, is to getting to know your customer. So before and during, again, treating them the way they want to be treated. After the sale, for me, it's follow through. If I told them I was going to do something, to do it. Send an email confirming what I've done, what's been done, and just making sure that, and I always ask, is this what you need? I want them to come back to me and tell me, yes, this is what I was looking for, or no, I need something else, that confirmation in there.
Yeah, for a nonprofit, it's very similar. I would just say communicating with them how they would like to be communicated with. And so I have had people who want to make a donation and they want a personal phone call. And then I have someone else who said, can you text me? And that was really uncomfortable at first, but that's what worked for this person. They traveled a lot, and text was the easiest. And so even if it might seem strange, just making sure that you're on the same page, communicating them with how they want to be communicated, reaching out to them how they feel comfortable, whether it be through Facebook, social media, in person, at the baseball game, after work, however they feel comfortable. And then also to add on to that, at the end, reporting. If someone is going to support your organization, it's because they have a heart for your mission. And so they want to make sure that their gift is making an impact. And so I always try to do like a nice little follow-up letter. And I brought an example of one that we did about a year ago. And it has some nice pictures across the top of like what they supported, some cute kids doing art projects. It tells them numbers of like what their impact was. And then there's like a little invitation in there for something else that we had coming up that they could have more opportunities to be involved in.
Cool. Part of the question said, what's the key before the sale?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a client you're trying to onboard or trying to win, they have no clue who you even are, how do you try and just reach out to the person? Cold calls sometimes very little work. Shoot an email doesn't always work. So find a way to send them something. There's a book by John Ruhlin, Johnruhlin, called Giftology. Highly recommend it. I'm going to talk about it later too. But he believes in the rule of reciprocity. If you send someone a token, and then a little note, he would send out, depending on the size of the client you're trying to win, he sent out a pair of paring knives with that executive's his name and his wife's name engraved on it, and said, can you carve out some time for me? So you're looking at maybe $100 gift you're going to send them with, no clue whether they're going to send something back or not, or give you any time. But finding ways to tailor the gift to that person too, or maybe to that person's wife, is a way to get an in. And I said, more often than not, you're going to get a phone call back, or at least like a 15-minute window to get in with them.
I kind of already talked about that in the first part. Just before we try to be early, we add them on Facebook. Actually, that's after. We add them on Facebook. But we do send the thank you card and the candy and popcorn. But during is just, I think, eye contact and listening, what Tracy said, and just smiling. Like, people want to be smiled at. And if you have like a blank face, then it might seem as though your body language is saying, I don't care about you, or I'm not interested in what you have to say. So I highly believe in eye contact, smiling, and listening during, to make that connection.
Real quick, I'm going to add just back in. I think if you love what you do, that goes through to the clients. If you're unhappy with what you're doing, they take that too. So if you love what you're doing, your customers are going to understand that.
Thank you. How do you gather feedback from your customers to be sure the love that you're showing is the love they are wanting? And we'll start off with Ryan.
Sure. So when Kimber talked about sending the popcorn and movie theater candy with their DVD for the wedding clients, on their questionnaire we ask, what's your favorite type of movie? Where do you like to sit in the theater? What's your favorite movie theater candy? Just kind of just random questions they wouldn't really think anything of. And then when they get their box, it has like their favorite movie theater candy in it. And we see, someone post a picture like, popcorn and candy, and then their TV with their wedding film on it, and they post that to social media. That's how we know they like it. If they're really happy about it, they're gonna, tweet or post about the service they got with you. So that's how you'll know whether they, like the gifts or like the appreciation you're showing them.
Sometimes they text us too. And we even had one couple, as soon as they got it, they FaceTimed us, which we were like not expecting it. And so we got this FaceTime on our phone, and they were like crying. They were so happy and thankful. And we were like, wow, that made more of an impact than we ever, thought it was. But just stuff like that. I mean, they'll let you know that they appreciate what you're doing, or you won't hear anything from them, and you'll wonder, do they appreciate it? But the more you do it, the more, you'll get that feedback.
Also, you can ask for surveys, but surveys are so hard because people don't want to take the time to fill them out. But that is a great way of getting feedback. But also, I think if you're in a service industry, providing things that people want. So for us, if we have a class or an event, and if people aren't showing up, then that means we're doing something wrong. Either it's not something they want, or we're not publicizing it correctly. And so listening to your customer, we had an example. We have opening receptions, and we have live music, and there's food, and it's very social, and it's very fun. But I had a gentleman tell me that he loved it, but he couldn't hear. He had a few hearing problems, and it made it really difficult for him. And so in response to that, I'm sure that there's other people who share his sentiments as well. We're actually starting a new program that would be like on Monday mornings. It would be coffee with a curator. It's going to be more low-key. It's going to be more personal for the individual who maybe is like kind of overwhelmed by maybe a big group of people and can't hear and can't make that connection. So I'd say it's listening to your customer and then also giving them what they want, no matter what that is or what field you're in.
For me, again, it's just asking them, did I answer your question? Did I help you in the way you needed it? And a lot of that feedback comes back to me in a referral. If they refer another customer, if they tell somebody about it, a lot of times you see people post the bad stuff. You do something good, somebody tells one person. You do something bad, everybody seems to know. But I always just ask, and that's for me is the biggest thing, is to ask for a referral, ask if I'm doing what I'm doing is correct, did I answer their questions, and to make sure that they're happy.
Thank you. Showing your clients, customers love is important. Do you feel comfortable asking them to show you love in return through referrals, Facebook reviews, etc.? And Lana will lead with this one.
Yes, I have absolutely asked for people's testimonials, and I've used them on our website. If it's about a class, and I put it on the education page. If it's about an event, I'll put it with that event. And that's something that when people are finding out information then, or even if donors are looking up, what this event, they can see an impact right there. I think the best testimonials are probably the ones that I don't hear about. That is one mom to another mom saying, hey, look at what my kid did at this art center event. It's awesome, you should get involved. So that, I don't get to hear those, but I know they exist, and sometimes I'll ask, like, oh, so how'd you hear about this program? And someone will say, oh, well, I heard about it through a friend, or I saw a project that their kid did, and I wanted that for my child.
That's true.
Yeah.
We've asked on our questionnaire, how did you hear about us? And that goes a long way. I'm
Mhm.
glad you brought that up because I didn't have it written down. But we ask everybody, how did you hear about us? Or, why, how are you contacting us? Who told you about us? Or did you see us on Facebook? Did you see, just how did the interaction come to us? But we always ask for a referral. We always ask for Facebook reviews after we, like in our thank you card, we say everything, thank you so much for choosing us, because people have choices of who they pick, not only for videographers, but for everybody. I mean, I'm sure, with the exception of the Art Center, there's probably multiple of whatever you do. And so we always thank them for choosing us. And then at the very last sentence, we said, if you are satisfied with your services, please tell other people about us by writing a Facebook review and refer other people. And so and then like Lana said, we always kind of find out when we ask them how they heard about us.
And it's the same way for me, ask for referrals, Facebook reviews. Hopefully Anna said this earlier when we talked last time, but a lot of times you can ask somebody for a review, but it's not a good time for them. But if you're on Facebook and you see one of your customers on, it's a good time to get in and ask them while they're on Facebook, would they go in and write a review or rate you? And sometimes it's just a matter of catching them at the right time. But definitely when somebody calls our office and wants a quote, that's one of the things that our office staff ask is, how did you hear about it? And, we know if it's certain things that it would go to a certain person if they don't specifically ask. So.
How fast do you typically return emails, phone calls, etc.? And how does this affect your relationship with your client? And we'll start with Kimber.
So the reason they're starting with me is because I stink at this. I'm terrible. So Ryan saves our business in this area, and if you stink at it, you can relate to me. I get better at it all the time, but I still overall stink at it. So the reason I'm leading is to say that depending on your industry, it's different. We can be super fast at it, where with Tracy, she's going to explain where her job just doesn't allow her to be exactly like what Ryan's going to say. So depending on your industry, just kind of, take what you can and apply it to you and your business.
So who works an 8 to 5 here, typically for their job? Who gets phone calls and messages after that 5 o'clock? Who likes to respond to those after 5 o'clock? No hands, right? No one wants to, your job's done at 5. You don't want to be receiving messages at 9:30. Hey, can you do this for me? It's kind of annoying. We were laying in bed last night at like 11 o'clock and got a message from a bride that we didn't like our photos. Can you get like still shots out of your video for us? It was 11 o'clock at night. She messaged us. But but we got that right away and responded right away, because on Facebook, you ever seen like a little response fast button? If you respond back to 95% of your people within 3 minutes, then you get the little green icon that says, hey, they respond fast. If I'm searching through something, I want to find out an answer from a business, if they have like the response fast icon, I'm typically going to message them because I know I'm going to get a response back quick. We don't have set office hours, so we get messages whenever, and we always respond right away, especially with emails, because a bride may send an email to 4 different videographers, and if we respond back right away and set up a time, we can meet with her sooner, and the chance of actually meeting with someone in person, you're going to book more business with them. Who can sell themselves better than a price sheet in person, right? You can sell yourself better. I got an email seriously at like 2 in the morning from this bride, and I'll explain that in a second. I got an email at 2 in the morning, woke up about 7, responded back right away, hey, we're available this time, this time, this time, which one works to meet? And she responded back about 4 o'clock that afternoon. And what the heck? And so we found out she works like a late shift. She wakes up like at 3 in the afternoon, goes into work at 5 at this restaurant, gets off at 11, and she stays up till like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, then goes to bed. So that's why she messaged me at 2 in the morning. And I sent her a message, she was sleeping, she woke up, responded right back. We met that following day. And so, she was like, oh my gosh, you responded back right away. I hope I didn't wake you up. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't know. It's easy because I don't wake up to stuff like that. But, so yeah, respond right away. Set up push notifications on your phone. I turn push notifications off for regular Facebook, but leave them on for the business because you get friend requests and comments and wall posts and it just makes your phone go nuts and you never get any work done. So I turn those off for regular Facebook, but turn them on for Messenger and for Facebook Pages app.
I work pretty much a regular 9 to 5, 9 to 6 type of shift. And so if it's like a phone call or an email, I say I'm going to respond no more than within 2 days' times, depending if I'm in and out. And I think 2 days is very broad, to be honest. If it's at the end of that 2 days for some reason, if we had people sick or I had to help with a tour, I always try to explain why. And thank them for their patience. Thank you so much for your patience. Everyone's sick in the office. And they're like, I get it, because they're people too. Not making excuses, but just explaining. And then to play kind of a little bit of devil's advocate to Ryan, because I do kind of work a normal shift, but the Art Center's Facebook is hooked up to my phone. And so sometimes customers will be like, hey, did my child leave their project in the studio? And it's Friday night at 6 p.m. and I don't know. I can't respond and I can't go in and check. And so really I handle it on an individual basis. Like if they're looking for a link of something that I know I can sit there and respond to them within 2 or 3 minutes of time, I'll go ahead and do it. But if it's something where I have to go to the Art Center and look through and see if they left this project, it's gonna wait until Monday morning because that's my personal sanity. So really, I think it's,
Do you respond and say, I'll get back to you Monday, or do you just let it go?
Well, it depends. I try my best to respond as soon as possible. Hey, I'll take care of this on Monday when I go in. Unless it's 11 o'clock at night or something, then most of the time I'll just wait until that Monday morning and go in and say, hey, thanks for your patience. I wanted to come in and check before I got back to you.
For me, it's immediate, as soon as possible, within the same hour, the same day. It just depends on what my day is like. I said health insurance, and there were times over the last couple of months, I didn't even have a bathroom break, let alone any other time to make a phone call. I would walk out and there would be 2 people waiting, and I'd have 15 phone calls. You just can't stop somebody, wait a minute, I gotta make these phone calls when they've got appointments, so you have to kind of learn to prioritize. I attempt to do it immediately. If I have a customer, I do it as soon as that customer is over with. Sometimes I'll hang up the phone and I'll go out and there'll be 3 or 4 phone calls. And then you have a customer walk in. So you just have to do your best. I will make a phone call back to a customer at 6, 6:30, 7 o'clock at night if I'm still in the office working, which I do quite a bit. I believe you really need to try to do that. Emails, unfortunately, they're on my phone, and so I'll email them back on vacation. Hey, I'm on vacation, get somebody at my office. I have Facebook, I have customers that get a hold of me on Facebook. It's the same thing. If I can do it right then and there and at least say, hey, I'm gonna check on that tomorrow, or let me look at that on Monday, I put it in my calendar so I can remember to do it, otherwise I don't get it done. But it's a matter of just trying to let them know. You love your customers that way, unfortunately, can turn around and come back because they expect everything immediately. And so it's the world that we live in, but you do your best and you get back to them as soon as you can, at least with like Lana said, hey, I'll get back with you this or there, and it gives them a little bit of understanding to know.
They know you care.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Have you received any referrals as a result of your acts of appreciation?
Yes, like I said, some of the best ones I may never know about because it's mom to mom, it's person to person. What we can track is if someone is like a member and a donor and they give year after year, and so it's retention rather than referral. And maybe you kind of have to look at it why. Like maybe we had something coming up that spoke directly to that person, to their industry, and so maybe it was a one-time gift. But a lot of people are gonna have a passion for your organization, for what you do, and so if they're gonna be repeat gifters, and if they're not, sometimes it's a reason, it's a conversation that, you know, maybe you should ask, be like, hey, is there something that we didn't do wrong, or is there a way that, you know, just have that conversation with them?
For me, it's my business. That's one of the biggest ways that my business keeps running is referrals. If I didn't get referrals, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today. I guess referrals are probably my number one way to get business.
We do something unique. Does anybody know we do same-day edits? Who knows we do same-day edits? Okay. Well, we do same-day edits, if you didn't know that, and what that means is we will film the entire day, but Ryan and I kind of take turns, and I will be editing when I can, and then we will show that film the night during the reception as if it were one of the like first dances or cake cutting and so have you. So people get to see right then what we do. And typically, well, I didn't even know this, but Tracy saw one of our same-day edits that we did, and she was like, I was so impressed. I've never seen that before. And so we'll get referrals right then and there. People will come up to us and be like, are you available for our wedding? Or, you know, they'll tell people, I was at this wedding this weekend, and this happened, and it was so cool. So that's a great way that we get referrals. Obviously, not everybody can, you know, duplicate that in their own business, but that's something that is just, I guess, for our business, that's the one way that we get referrals. And a lot of, I guess, our referrals are just word of mouth. I mean, it's not necessarily something that they post on Facebook or anything like that, but people talk in Quincy a lot, and they have a lot to say about businesses and people that we do represent our business. Like, you know, if somebody comes to an art center, they might not even know Lana yet, but when she goes out, you know, she's not necessarily like representing the art center specifically, but because it has its own location and it has its own things. But if you're in a business like Ryan and I, where we are the business, you know, you have to, I guess, put your best foot forward no matter what, because if people don't like us, they're not going to book with us, you know. So we just really concentrate on being genuine and unique so that people will want to refer us and talk about their experience with us.
How often do you host customer appreciation events, and are they successful? We'll leave you with Lana.
So most of what we do has a customer appreciation portion to it. You know, ArtFest serves our community with hands-on. It's mostly free. Our exhibits are open to the public. We ask for a donation. That being said, if you're showing appreciation for your, you know, maybe your top level donors, you have to like add on to that. And so something that we have done is if we have an event or a special thing, we'll invite our donors to come like 20 minutes early and to get like a sneak preview before everyone else gets there. They can talk to their director, they can get their glass of wine or their beverage, or they can ask, you know, some really hard-hitting questions like, what are your numbers? Who is this supporting? What is my, where is my money going? And so not only are we, I guess, showing appreciation for their gift, but we're also making sure that their questions are answered and that we are living up to our side of the contract.
Cool. We have never had a customer appreciation event, but we've talked a lot about getting together all of our brides from last year and throwing like one big like backyard barbecue. Have the TV that has all of their different videos just looping, so they can, you know, look and see what everybody else's video was. They can talk about their experience, and the key is we'll have surveys there, and they can, you know, fill out their little survey about what they liked about us and what we can change and do differently. So we're in the works of planning one for this spring for all of our past brides. And I thought, like, man, we have 21 weddings, so that's like 42 people, and it can be a costly thing, but I think it's worth it. We're gonna talk next about like how to determine how much to spend on a gift. That's the next question. So that can kind of be figured into that too. You know, is it, you know, how are you gonna be able to show appreciation to these people afterwards? Because, you know, weddings, they get married once, and that's typically, if they're gonna get married a second time, they're probably not gonna hire, you know, a big elaborate, you know, wedding. So a lot of our people, you know, we work with them once and then we count on them to refer other people because it's not really repeat business.
For me, I think that customer appreciation events are extremely important. I'm just an agent in an office with others, so it's really hard for me to try to do something within that office and just have a certain amount of customers come in, and I haven't been able to talk the rest of the agents into doing that. But I firmly believe that that puts your business in front of others to know that your customers are appreciated.
I have one thing I forgot to add. A lot of other museums or art centers will do some type of appreciation breakfast or brunch or thing, evening event. And I think the key to that, if you are a nonprofit, is to be upfront with them and to say that this is a thank you and you will not be asked for donations at this event. Because I think when you are a nonprofit or some type of community organization, people are used to you saying, well, you know, to give back. And if it's an appreciation, to be very upfront and say, this is a thank you. No donations, please. You know, and yeah.
Thank you. And how do you determine how much to spend on a gift for a client?
So what's the difference between gift and promotional items? Someone tell me. All right, T, if I give you a call.
Gift is something for them.
Huh?
Gift is something for them, and promotionals for you.
All right. So if I'm gonna try and onboard T as a client, and I'm gonna give him, I know he drinks coffee a lot, so I'm gonna give him like a really good like coffee mug. And it's gonna be one of those like Yeti ones, it's got the good lid on it, it's got the extra little handle, and I put Stark Studios on it and give it to him. That's a promotional gift. But if I put, you know, T Heberlein Service Master on it and give it to him, that's a gift. I think we get very confused on what's promotional and what's a gift. And when you're trying to give something to someone, you know, a Carhartt jacket with, you know, your logo on it to a contractor doesn't really show that you're trying to get, you know, your name out there more. But if you know, if you have maybe Peters as a client, you give, you know, all their contractors, you know, new jackets and put, you know, their name and their logo on the back of it, that's a cool gift. You know, they're going to use that and they're going to remember that gift came from you. So that kind of the amounts. That book I talked about from John Rulin, he said 5%. So if you have a $2,500 client, they're going to spend $2,500 this year with you, spend $125 on them. You know, get them something nice. And don't send it at Christmas. Everybody gets the fruit and nut tray at Christmas. Wait for a time, maybe in March. You know that they're really, really busy in March with you, maybe, you know, cleaning checks for the spring for getting all their AC units back up. So send them something around that time, you know, something that's going to really speak to, you know, their business. Maybe send, say they've got, you know, 20 techs, send them all, you know, 12 packs of soda, because, hey, you guys have been working really hard. It's going to be a good time to just take a break and, you know, have a break on us. You know, maybe a Snickers and a soda, something like that. Find a way to be different and give at unexpected times. Think of it as a surprise and delight.
For me, I'm limited by law. There's just certain amounts that I can do as far as a gift, so it's not rebating. What I try to do is send a thank you with a little gift card if somebody refers a customer in. Once I have customers, I am a promotional type person. I firmly believe in having all kinds of stuff out, and I have stuff, not my keys, but nobody gets that, but I always have stuff out in my office to give to people. Yes, this all has my stuff on it, but it's a promotion, I'm giving it away. I also will do different things, like if I have a customer that is ill, having to go out of town for treatments, I'll send a gift card, a gas gift card or a meal gift card, and just thinking of you, be safe while you travel. I had some customers a couple of weeks ago one whose mom passed away very young, and the other one who ended up in the hospital, 5 kids at home, and I stayed home and I baked lasagna, and I took meals to them the next day. And so there's little things like that that you can do that don't cost a lot, especially when you're limited.
Very much so. For a nonprofit, there's 2 types. There's obviously sponsors, which are going to be companies, and then there's going to be individuals. And each company and each individual is totally different. And so with the sponsors, you can lots of times give them something kind of like in kind. Like something we do is if they give to one of our large programs, then we can provide like a painting party for their employees, so it works out as a team building. And so that would be one avenue. But then for your individual, you have to be very careful, because if they're giving you $100, you don't want to turn around and give them a $100 knife set. That's, one, you don't have that in your budget, and 2, that's a totally inappropriate use of their donation. And so I think we try to focus on gifts that speak to the mission, that are appropriate, and that remind them of why they are supporting this individual. And so if this is a kids programming, something like this. And then we also, around Christmas time one year, we made little handprint ornaments, and we gave them out to businesses that supported, so that they had that feel good that they could hang on their office Christmas tree and be reminded of, you know, the impact that they were making in their community. And then also, there are people who maybe don't maybe give you something, but they provide like an in-kind service. And that's when like a bag of chocolate chip cookies goes super far. For example, we had someone who provided service for the Art Center who they didn't charge us, and they did it like on a rush job. And so they are gonna get some chocolate chip cookies today because we really appreciated that. And can we give them, you know, like a party? I think that'd be inappropriate for doing something like that. But stopping by and saying, hey, happy Valentine's Day, I made these for you, I really appreciate what you did, that's gonna go a long way in the future if we ever need something like that again.
Right, yeah. This, I believe you all have said that you do write thank you notes, do handwritten thank you notes, but why are thank you notes important, and how important are they for your clients? And Tracy will lead.
For me, I think they're very important. It would be impossible for me to write a thank you note with every single policy that I write. So I try to write one to all of my new clients, at least the first time. A lot of times after that, I'll follow through with an email, but that handwritten note shows that you've taken your time, that you thank them again. I do that usually after I send the policies to issue. So it's usually a good 4 to 5 days after they've been in my office. They get it. It's just a reminder that they're still important to me.
So as a nonprofit, not only do you have to thank them, but you have to make sure that they get like a thank you donation letter for their taxes. And so ideally, a handwritten thank you is much better. But if you are only going to do a letter, just putting something handwritten at the bottom, like, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate all you do for the Art Center. Because I think it's not only writing the thank you, but what you put in it, making sure that you are specific on, you know, thank you for your time. I really enjoyed getting to know you. Or thank you for making cookies for this event. If you didn't do that, we wouldn't have been able to do this. And so making it specific, because I've gotten thank yous where it's just like, thank you so much, and it's like 2 sentences. And then I've gotten that thank you note where they like drew a little picture and everyone signed it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I made an impact, you know? And so having everyone in our office signing it, maybe doing a little picture, making sure that they feel appreciated.
I don't really have much to say else besides what they already said, because I was gonna say make it specific, you know, you can make some of it generic, like that you want, I mean, thank you for your time, or thank you for whatever they did, but then maybe something, like you said, that was more specific. Like I really enjoyed hearing about your family hunting. Like we went and spent 2 hours with this couple when they booked with us for a wedding. In their basement, there's like 15 deer heads everywhere, and they talked about how their whole family loved bowling and hunting. And so, you know, something specific to what, saying that you listened to them and that you heard, you know, their specific story.
Definitely.
Those were all the submitted questions that we had, and it's about 1:45 now, so there's some time if any of you have any questions about what they've said or anything you'd like to add, you're welcome to do that.
I have one. I have a client who thinks he's my only client. Like,
Oh, no, I have him
I'm
too.
an assistant. He calls me like
Oh, yeah.
many times a day, and as we all are, we're so busy. You know, I have, you know, we're on meetings, we're on shoots, you know, I'm not in the office all the time. How do you keep that person, I still want him to feel important and that I do appreciate him and his business and trusting me to help him. But sometimes I feel like he might not feel important because I can't always respond. I'll have a voicemail when I get back.
I'll start with that one because I probably have the same customer. And I've been doing this a long time, and so I've fired customers before. I've literally told them, you know, you have to pretty well, and it's how you do it, but, you know, I really appreciate your business, but I have many other customers that I have to take care of, and I want to treat you all the same, so I cannot keep doing this for you. Love to keep your business, but, you know, this is where the limit ends, or this is what I can do. And some will come back and will be very appreciative because they don't realize how much they're taking, and others will think, well, the other customers can go away because I'm your number one, and at that point, that's when you have to decide, do you keep them or do you fire them? And I have told customers before, you know, I really appreciate your business, but I cannot be all you want me to be, so I'm giving you free will to go to the door and to find somebody else. And a few have left, majority have stayed with me because they appreciated me being honest.
She's right.
Anybody else here have any of that same stuff? I mean, it's,
Any other questions? Any
I
other
just had a
comments?
comment when you talked about getting text messages in the middle of the night, because I'm guilty of that, because I don't expect a response.
Mhm.
I'm thinking they'll get it in the morning.
Yeah.
And I just recently got Messenger on my phone, so I'm not used to getting the notifications in the middle of the night.
my phone stays out in the kitchen. It's on all night, and if it's 11 o'clock at night before I go to bed, I always look at it. Every once in a while, I'm in a meeting and I forget to turn the volume up. So I'll look, there'll be all these messages, and I try to get back with them quickly, but for me, it's not as important as doing that at that time of night immediately, but just at least getting back with them, so.
Well, and like what you said too about making sure you put your reminder on your calendar. Because
Yeah.
the worst thing is when you get something at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night and you say, I'll do that, and then there's been times it's been, luckily not too long, but like Tuesday morning, I'm like, oh, I never did that. So that's the downfall, I think, to it. It's because you want to respond to people, but you can't always answer their question immediately.
My newer to me car, the text messages pop up. And if they pop up in my car, they don't pop up on my phone, or they pop up as already seen. So somebody will say, you didn't get my text. I'm like, no, I didn't get your text. And I'll go back and I'll look, and it was 3 or 4 texts ago, but it apparently had popped up while I was driving, and it shows as red. So, you know, I try to sit down now and look back and make sure that I'm catching those. So, but again, we're all human, and you can only do your best, and it's telling your customers that and hoping that they understand that they're human too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really think loving your client, to put it really easily, is like thinking about your mom, how she always made you write thank you notes and trying to instill good manners. It's just having really great manners. If someone does something for you, writing a thank you note. If they donate, giving them a phone call. If you see them, thanking them in person. I've even been on a social event. Someone donated hot chocolate to the Art Center about a month ago, and I said, hey, thank you so much. That hot chocolate was awesome. And they're like, oh yeah, that's no problem, thank you. It's just being, I guess, like, ready to say thank you no matter where you are, anytime.
I think something else too is like, if I were sitting there and listening to all this, and I didn't do any of this right now, I would be really overwhelmed. Like, how am I gonna implement all these new things I just learned when I don't necessarily do any of those things right now? And I think maybe just like making a list of the top things that you learned that you thought, oh, I can apply this to my business, or that seems like something that I can easily, implement, and make a list and just start with the top one and get good at that first, and then go to the next one once you feel comfortable getting good at that one, because next thing I'm good at is gonna be getting back to people, because I stink at that right now. Like, for example, you sent me an email like a while back, and I was like, hey Dave, I think the guy from the gym sent me an email. He's like, what? We're meeting with him today about something else. I'm like, yeah, I don't remember what it was about, but he's like, you gotta get better at this. I'm like, I know. So just,
You guys have been great, don't worry.
but so, like she said, you're human, and so just, make it a goal to get better at the next thing that you stink at.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask, does anybody here do anything different?
Yeah, any
Yeah, that's a
tips
good
for
idea.
us?
Because I've been a firm believer that you're never told to learn new tricks, and
Mhm.
what I liked about the panel is I've been doing this for a long time, but some of the stuff they were doing was like, oh, I need to do some of that. So is there anything here, anybody's doing any different?
I try to get better about touching my clients a little more. I mean, when you have a big client list, it's so hard to, not stay in touch with the ones who don't need you as often. So I've kind of put together my own calendar, and I try to do something just nice quarterly, whether it's sending them a $5 Starbucks card to say, thanks, a latte, or something like that for all you do, have a coffee on me, that kind of stuff. And just letting them know they're appreciated. It doesn't have to cost a lot, it doesn't have to be a big deal, but they really appreciate it. They just include a note, is there anything happening that I can help you with, or anything like that. So just getting better at that.
When I first started it, like the week before Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving, the week after, I used to make phone calls during the day when people were at home. This was before caller ID, before cell phones, when everybody answered right away. Just thank them for their business. I'm not asking you for anything, I'm just thanking for your business. It's harder to do now because everybody's got their phone right there, or their cell phones and they're unlisted, or they change their phone numbers. And any little thing you can do like that, touching your customers, is very important.
I think in addition to love your client, love your vendors. Who has a vendor they get stuff from regularly, they rely on?
Mm-hmm.
So how many, have you been in a pinch where like you really need something really fast, has to be here by Friday, and you hope they do it? Things like that. I worked in, before I started Star Studios, I worked with T.F. Earhart in purchasing. And so I dealt with like all these different people that I need stuff to keep in stock or else I'm in trouble. And so, with one, lady at Harvey Cooley, like girls red shirt diffusers, I sent her like a $10 Starbucks card because she got me stuff I needed like right away for the customer. And it meant a lot. You're exactly like, what was $5 how much to send to them? They're like, oh my gosh, that was the nicest thing anyone's ever done. If that's the nicest thing anyone's ever done, you must have a really crummy place.
Literally just keep a stack of $5 Starbucks cards on your desk, and anytime something like that happens or comes up, just drop one in the mail. I mean,
Yeah.
we do it all the time, and it really does. It has a bigger impact than you might think. So.
My dad's been with an insurance agent for I don't know how many years. Every year on his birthday gets a birthday card and a stick of gum. A stick of gum. And he talks about it, he raves about it. Like, my dad's in Florida, I got his birthday card, and he had talked about he knows he gets it every year. And so I mail it down to him in Florida, I got his mail, and I send it back down and I say, hey, you got a special present? He's like, is it my stick of gum? So I mean,
It's silly, but like, it means something to him, because it's, I don't know.
Just like a little comment, I think I've said this before, like marketing things in general, we talked a little bit about social media and how, or just in general, how the good things sometimes go unnoticed, but the bad things, like, seems like everyone finds out about them. I always say, like, in groups like this, that maybe also commit ourselves to each other, that if you have used services in this room, go ahead and make that Facebook recommendation or do the review, because it kind of does start with us, right? I mean, when we know that we've got people here that are doing a really great job, or we appreciate them, do that first, and then you'll see maybe other people will kind of join in or ask a friend to do it also, because it's important to us. I think it kind of grows from people in this room.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Kind of to follow up on Joy's comment for the panel, can you share kind of your best ways for asking for testimonials specifically? And for some of us that predate Facebook and LinkedIn, it was harder years ago, I think, than maybe it is now. Is that a different dynamic and a different ask for them to put something on social media or your specific profile than in the past when we kind of asked for testimonials be sent to us?
Go ahead.
We've done it through social media, but I do think the best way is actually face-to-face. And I think we've asked, I can think of a few times where either a teacher or an instructor has had a personal experience, or we've had someone call in and say, oh my goodness, this happened with my child. They were really struggling, and this class just really helped to turn them around. And we've asked and said, hey, that is such a great story. Would you mind writing that down for us so we can share that with other people that might be in your position? So personally, I still think like face-to-face over the phone is the best way.
With Twitter, with Facebook, it's only going to go as far as your followers and their followers, and then whoever is linked out with them. But it's still, if it can touch one person, and that's what it is. And I firmly believe in, if I see somebody on Facebook and they're a customer and I believe I've done a good job, I definitely, hey, while you're on Facebook, would you go in and make a comment on my page, rate me, and if you have done it, it's getting them to do it. Usually if they're like me, I'm on it when I'm on hold or doing something, so I'm not on it long periods of time, or I'm on it on my phone, and it's harder for me to find different things. I'm still the old school. Ryan had to help me with my phone, get all the stuff off so I wasn't getting millions of notifications a day. So, but I'm a big believer in doing all of that, learning it, and it's a learning. You've got to learn it to keep up with it.
I agree with Lana. Like if you were, if we were doing a business film for you, and at the end, after you'd worked with us and we'd filmed and created this awesome video for you, and you had great success with it, and you were telling us about that, or even how Tracy was saying, so how was your experience with us? Are you satisfied with your video? And you were like, yeah, it's amazing. I just can't believe blah, blah, blah. Right then and there is a good time to say, would you mind writing that on Facebook? I just love how much that impacted you and what a difference it made in your business. And that would really help us if you went on our Facebook and did that. Another thing is if you guys have a website and you have a testimonials tab on your website, even just if you get a card in the mail or anything like that, we've gotten cards and we can't put that on Facebook because that would be us putting it on our own page, which wouldn't make any sense. And so those go on our website under testimonials, and they're just in quotations of what they've said and then their name. And so that makes an impact as well because, you can still use those thank yous that you've gotten in the mail. I don't know if you can do it if someone just told you something.
Well, now see, and I've actually had clients send me flowers. I had one that gave me a massage for helping him out. And I put that out and, took pictures of the flowers or whatever and said, I love my clients and they love me. And, you want that to go back and forth. And so,
just on Facebook you post
yeah.
it?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good idea.
It gives them a little kind of a shout out. I ask them at first, can I use your name? Sometimes they say no, but other times they say yes. And but it just kind of shows that people appreciate you too. So
did your client come to your office and give you the massage, like brought their
gave me a gift certificate, and that was the best hour and a half that I had.
Well, I think what's important is that the gifts you were talking about, things in 5% and whatnot, it's so little, so small of an investment because if I remember correctly, a dissatisfied customer will tell on the average 20 people.
Mm-hmm.
And it costs a lot more money to bring people back that have had an offense against you, even if it was someone else's.
Exactly right.
especially reviews on Facebook, because you can't take those away.
Right.
And you have to kind of ask them, I mean, there's actually been a couple times where I've personally asked somebody like, you know, you can see this was a misunderstanding and something, would you mind? But I run a lot of nonprofit pages, so it's kind of a little bit different in that sector, but, you know, I remember having to actually ask somebody, you know, this is really something that should be taken down now that we've cleared the air.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And with testimonials in my business, they're very, you have to make sure that they are loyal. Because I was at a different branch for my bank, and we did a testimonial, and we put it in the paper, and the customer came back 2 weeks later saying, don't ever ask me to do a testimonial, because they ran a very successful business. They said, I had every bank in town call once they knew. And even one banker said, no matter what the rate is, if I beat them by 0.5%, will you come down to me? And it put a lot of strain on them, having everybody call saying, oh, you're with them? What can we do to get you with us?
Wow.
And so now if we ever, when we do one, we're just like, you know, kind of throw that warning out there. Hey, you know, sometimes it brings people out of the woodwork. Do you still want to do this or not?
Well, it is straight up 1 o'clock, so thank you all very much again for being with us on Valentine's Day. And we will do another sales and marketing event in March. It'll be March 14th. I think it'll be about event planning. So thank you. If you have any questions for the panelists, if you think of anything, their email addresses are on the sheets. And let's give a hand to the panelists.